Hey everyone, sorry for the late start. For 5 minutes, not too bad.
Hey
Today we
everyone,
got
sorry for the late
we
start.
got DBak and Julia joining us today. You
Cool.
guys want to say hi?
Hi.
What's good? What's good?
Okay, so do you guys? I mean, you two have, we've known each other, one another for a while now, and when do you guys recall the first time where the three of us sort of worked together in the musical fashion?
Hmm.
I don't remember.
Good
I mean,
question.
I always knew of Dave, but he was this pretty.
Oh
Untouchable.
yeah.
I honestly thought for a long time that music was your full time gig, Dave. So, and people were like, "Oh no, he's like a pharmacist of sorts." I was like, "Oh," but because you had albums out and everything, I figured that was your full time gig.
That's
But
like that's like the biggest compliment I could ever receive. Yeah, I don't remember when I met Julia. Um, I think the first time I met you was you were a singer at like young adult or college united. It was
oh
like one
yeah,
of our retreats,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I remember you were up there. I think first time you sang was with Edmund, might have been.
Probably.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't know who you were, so but I think everyone was like, yeah, like, man, Julie has a great voice. It's pretty unique. And I was like, oh, really? And I was like pretty excited to hear it.
Mm,
I think that's the first time I heard you. And then I don't think we became like friends until like a couple of years later.
yeah, yeah. But I think the first collab officially was Fly Away. I'm pretty sure that
Really?
was. I think so. I don't think we did anything else.
Man, that's crazy. I feel like we've done so much work
I
for so.
know.
Which is kind of amazing because the two tracks we're listening to today like bookends more than a year.
Hmm.
Do you guys remember "Fly Away"?
Yeah,
I do,
yeah.
Yeah.
for
What's
sure.
what's your recollection of "Fly Away"? This is gonna be like a test your memory evening. And Dave, just so you know, I have the
Uh-huh.
chat up for the live stream, and some of the individuals want to get a clearer view of one of the guests this evening.
Okay. Oh, it's on me.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it's you. I think he wants to see your face without a big metal arm coming out of the side cheek.
Let me see. So Fly Away, I remember it was pretty memorable, and I have a terrible memory. So I remember we were at all at a mutual friend's house, John Kim, and um, I don't know why, but we were all there together for some reason. And I don't think it was for music, or maybe it was. I just remember Edmund, your stuff was downstairs. No, 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 no. We brought John's stuff from upstairs to the main living room, and I don't know why, but I just remember, yeah, I don't know. I just remember that song, and it was memorable for me because it was one of the first times I'd ever written lyrics on the spot and in front of a lot of people. Oh, by the way, when people live stream, are they connecting to the Zoom meeting or are they just watching like a mirror of this?
When people live stream, they're watching um, everything. So
Okay.
so someone's joining Zoom.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
We have a special guest. You, sorry.
I'm
Okay.
assuming this is Joanne.
Hi,
Yes.
Joanne.
Hi, I'm Joanne.
We have an international audience now. Anyway, I will continue.
Okay.
So I remember that day was pretty memorable because, yeah, it was the first time I like wrote lyrics on the spot. And like, usually I really, really hate that kind of thing because I feel so much pressure. And I
Yeah.
don't know, for some reason, like lyrics, I always found it to be such like an intimate thing. Like, if we ever song wrote together, you probably never saw me write lyrics in front of you because that is something most of the time I would do in my room
Hmm.
or in the shower or like in a like a like just isolated spot because I'm the type of person who will say the same line like 50 million times. I don't know, just like I don't know. I guess with lyrics, I just find it so important and yeah, I critique every word and bar and just feel and tone.
Yeah.
So I just remember Fly Away was really unique because for some reason, Emma, you are the master. I don't know, it's just because we're so close friends or something, but you know, you are the master of bringing out like things or making me do things I would never do. And I remember that night was one of those nights where you were like, "Hey, man, can you write something for this?" And I remember I said like, yeah, of course, like give me a few days, or I said, give me a few days or a few weeks, and I said, and you're like, no, like I
Hmm.
need that right
Hmm.
now, and I was like, what? And I remember we had like, it was like a blank canvas, and like we didn't know what we wanted to write about, stuff like that. And I think you just said something like, I think we're all kind of in a weird season of like feeling, I don't know, uh, like it wasn't a good season, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And yeah, so we kind of started with that as the header. And yeah, I remember writing and I was like, it was kind of nuts. Like, and yeah, I remember writing it and it was crazy. I remember at the end that 16 only took like maybe like 20 minutes. But to this day, like it's one of my favorite 16s because
Hmm.
I'll never forget it. Because I didn't have time to delete stuff I felt was stupid.
Hmm.
I only had time to say what I mean and mean what I say.
Yeah.
And one of the things I learned the most, and probably in the past few years about songwriting, is especially rap or even singing. It's like for me, one of my tendencies is to try to fit as much content I can in a bar. But I realize if you do that the wrong way most of the time, is that um, people are not going to be able to understand it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like you might want to include like crazy imagery or, you know, rhythmic stuff. But at the end of the day, like people just want to be able to understand what you're saying and connect to it.
Yeah.
And that was really unique for me because yeah, I had no other choice. I had to write, my bro 16 and do it there and record it there and like and hear it back at the same time and then just let it be that. So yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, and I never recorded in front of like
A group of people.
people, a group of people who are not recording
Hmm.
that day. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I've definitely done studio sessions where it's like people are musicians or other artists or recording, but that was the first time. It was just like some of my closest friends. They're sitting on the couch, and like and it's not like one of those like songs where you can just kind of bounce or like yeah, it's not like one of those like uplifting songs and like you can make it a vibe and like everyone's there and it's a party. But it was one of those heavy songs. It was like one of the lyrics is like, why would you burn? I should know the lyrics, but it's like, why would you burn down a house that we built
Hmm.
together? that's a pretty heavy line, and like
Yeah.
to deliver that kind of line in front of like some of these friends, like our relationship is based on me being just goofy,
Hmm.
but to kind of like really showcase that part is yeah, that made that kind of stuff memorable.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was at John Kim's place, I do also remember that he most likely helped you with he helped you by providing um, grapes in the form of liquid courage, if you get what I'm saying.
You talking about Welch's?
Yeah, I'm talking about watches. Julia, do
That
you
was
do you go? Yeah, no, it was. I think we all had a good time. Julia, were you nervous at all? Because I mean the lyrics, you know, Dave talks about fitting a lot into a bar, but if you compare the complexity and the the different words chosen for his section to what you sang, which we'll hear
Mm,
in a minute, I mean, you have the most simple line sung
right.
repeatedly. So were you, being someone who's written pretty profound lyrics in the past, were you nervous about the way a piece with such few words from your section would turn out?
Well, at this point, I hadn't written anything. So this was, I think what kickstarted my, I guess, exploration of lyric writing. I think this one hangout. I remember Dave going over to the kitchen table in a corner by himself. The lights were off everywhere else, and he's just. I think Grace was mentioning in the comment section that he was writing on a napkin. It was just kind of a very like organic thing, and I mean, I didn't have any role in writing these words. You just kind of were like, "Oh, how about you sing this?" And I was like, "Sure." And luckily, we were all friends, and it was like a safe place, so I didn't feel intimidated in any way to just take part like that. It was just a really great first experience into on the spot collaboration
Hmm.
and creativity.
Hmm.
So it was a good time.
Um, any other comments before we take a listen to it?
How about for you, Evan? So yeah, that's a unique position to be in because
Yeah.
I've never been in that kind of position where I guess for you as an artist, this album is like um, I feel like your drive with this album or like what you deliver with this album is like kind of like a composer, right? And it's kind of like a producer, and it's like what I mean is like uh, you're not like I don't know. For instance, for this song, you took me and Julia's parts, and then you mashed up this musical composition that kind of drives the energy, and also says like what you want to say through not lyrics but music, right?
Yeah.
So what are some things that you thought about? You know, how did you create this energy, and how did you like kind of bounce off me and Julia? You know.
Yeah, to be honest, this was one of the first songs that I ever even attempted to um, produce in the genre of electronic dance music. And at that time, I was um, experimenting, and I decided for my first experiment, whether the experiment blew up in my face or whether the experiment went the way I wanted it to do it in a laboratory that was safe with other quote unquote researchers who I trusted. So I felt like that setting, that group of people, that occasion was that safe laboratory with like-minded researchers. And I think I mentioned that I was pretty novice at that time with the software I was using and the approach um, to writing EDM. And at that point, my love for EDM was definitely more mature than my ability to produce EDM. Hence, the maturity came over, and it's still growing over the last year plus and that's why this song hasn't made it out there until now, because although the idea and the experiment started and the inception of it was then, I think it didn't grow to what I needed it to be until now. And so I think the whole project has developed into me wanting to create a stage where people that I love and people who have something to say through the lyrics they write or the melodies they sing can come together and to contribute. And not only contribute in terms of music and lyrics, but also contribute in terms of sharing some of the hardships and life trials they've been through. There have been a couple of people who've really pushed me to sing on the project, and I basically at some point decided, that'd be cool, but right now I just want the project to be me setting the stage for other people, and maybe in the future, I'll sing on something. But I've just loved the ability and opportunity to create a space where people can come together and contribute to a genre of music that I've grown to love, that they may not instinctively listen to the first thing in the morning. So for me, it's been sort of like, here's some music. If you will, give me an opportunity to listen to your testimony through what you write and what you sing.
Was this first song of your project?
This was the first song that I ever created, yeah.
Dang. You know what they say, man?
What do they say?
Yeah, I don't know what they say. But there's something there about your first album, your first tracks. There's like usually such a purity about it. It makes it like a classic. Everybody always says like, I wonder if there's something like that there for you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to listen to it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And I'm hearing crackling, so let me take this guy out. Let's try it again. Is it just me or do other people hear crackling?
Like the choppiness. Yeah.
After all that deep thought, to not be able to hear this the way I wanted to. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it figured out. Give me a second, folks. Okay, here we go. Well, we need to wait for the train to go by anyway, so.
We could just mute ourselves.
That's true.
The song's over.
No, man, let the ambience of the L
There we go.
serenade the chat room. I literally hear that you hear that? It's crazy. That train is literally right next to me.
Yeah, you have to listen to another device.
Chills. I get chills every time I listen to this.
Oh, it's so good. I'm pretty sure I've memorized Dave's rap part.
Oh, really?
Rap along with it, you know.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So good.
Dude, that is the vibes, man.
Yeah, it's come a long way. I mean, I remember when I brought it home that evening, and then I played it, and I was like, okay, where am I going with this? Did I just waste everyone's time this evening? You know, and I'm sure along the way, people were asking, well, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that track that we recorded at John's place? I'm glad it's come this far, for sure.
Dude, that is yeah, man, that's gotta be one of my favorite tracks I've ever worked on. That's a really good one.
That's a huge compliment.
No, man, for real. That's yeah, when I hear that song now, I like it really brings me back to where we were at when we recorded. And also kind of like where a lot of our lives were at. And yeah, it's good. Yes. I think, man, like actually, I don't know if you remember, but Evan, you wrote that first part, right, for Julia? Or Julia, did you
Fly
write
away. No, I didn't write any of that.
Yeah, I forgot until Julia reminded me just now. Yeah.
I forgot until I heard it just now, and
Oh, yeah.
I remember you saying those lines. Yeah, what was that line?
The beginning one?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Fly, fly away, far away from me. Wait, please don't go.
Yeah, I remember that because it was this feeling a lot of us were like mutually connecting on, where it was like, um, whether it was, life circumstances or maybe other relationships or what have you, it was just like this position of like I want to get the heck out of here, but we're also like so binded to that, whatever situation or person or whatever it is. I just remember, I remember I really liked that line because it was like this, like, it was truly a birdcage of a lyric, you know what I mean? Like, and I remember, yeah, I didn't start writing until I heard, and then you start writing that, and then I was like, and something about the track, I mean, it wasn't as produced as it is now, but it still had the basic, chord progression and things like that. But it's still, I remember it still felt like a fire. And at least for me, like when I write a lot of stuff, like it has to be like visually, like I have to imagine like a music video for it to work, you know what I'm saying? And I remember when I heard that chord progression, I really felt like if there was a music video, I would be in a house that's on fire, and I'm like in a room, like looking at this person that I used to love, like their clothes or something in the closet, and I'm like too fascinated looking at that old stuff that I can't see that the house is like burning down around me. You know what I'm saying?
You producing the music videos?
You know what I'm saying? That's the power of music right there. I haven't heard that track like that in a while, so like man, it's just like bringing me in a place.
You have a lot of flammable items in your place, John, that we could work with for the video.
I just lit a candle. It's kind of expensive, so I'm not trying to burn up.
So what's amazing is, Dave, you recalled how spontaneous the lyric writing was, and you would imagine that having you to collaborate with me on the song, like almost a year and a half later, that I would introduce some level of preparing ahead of time. But I think the spontaneity was put on your laps for the second track as well.
Yeah.
right?
Definitely was, man.
Yeah,
I hate you, bro.
I know. I'm sorry, but I remember like, yeah, it's funny. Every time I ask you to, like, I have a song. I need some lyrics and I need some singing. Do you want to come by? Like you always say yes, and then after the fact, you wonder, okay, how do I prepare for this? And then and Dave, I think invariably every single time I introduce a song skeleton to you, you sort of sit back in your seat and you look at me and you ask me, well, where do you want this to go? What do you want this song to be about?
Uh-huh.
And I remember no matter how many times I hear those two questions being asked of me, I'm caught off guard every time you ask me those questions. So I'm like, I don't know, it's just a good sounding track. Just sing about something. And so I was forced to at that time to um, say to you, because it was around Mother's Day and because the album was about suffering, I said, why don't you two come up with lyrics dedicated to a mom who's trying to raise her family? Do you remember that?
I do. I was just
I didn't know until I got to your house.
Oh,
And as a non-mom, I was like, oh, okay. What am I supposed to do about this?
yeah. That was a good segue, by the way, Evan. I didn't even know we were going into the next song part.
yeah. Was this second one harder or easier? I mean, I guess by that time you had sort of practiced in the trained in the school of Edmund Moon's spontaneity, so it was no longer a surprise that I made you come up with words on the spot. But was it easier or harder the second time around to do that?
For me, I remember it was tougher. Um, I don't know why. Maybe the first song is a lot about pain. And I don't know, for some reason, that's much easier to write. Um, I just have to go into a certain, you know, space, and then I can remember words and things like that. But I remember one of the first things I thought about this song was, hey, if we're gonna do a song about like moms, that's a lot of pressure because the last thing I want to do is make it sound ingenuine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at least for me, like writing about that stuff can turn ingenuine pretty easily. And so um, that added to the extra pressure of not having a single line. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I remember it was kind of similar situation. We're in your basement and we had to write. So I just went out to like the other part of your basement area and I was trying to figure out what to say. And I was just, for me, one thing I learned is if I'm going to do something like this, it's find one line that you can stick behind and just be fully like, uh, fully love that line. You know what I'm saying? And let the rest of the song build past that line. Because for me, I'm like, if the rest of my 16 is whack, at least I have that one line I can always be like, yo, like you were true to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's true to life. And like, I don't know. For me, those are the best songs. So one of that line for me in my 16 was, it's something like, you're a human being just like me, yet you love someone just like me. And that was the thing I was thinking about because it's crazy how my relationship with my mom is different now than it is like maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. It's like the more I get older, uh, we're just getting more into space of becoming like, parents ourselves or, what have you, and having kids and things like that. It's just like recognizing much more and more and more. Like when I was young, my mom was like human, but she was also like, granted some kind of like supernatural power to be a parent, you know what I'm saying? And,
Mm.
you kind of put that expectation and of course, she can handle that. She's a mom. But as I get, older and older and older, and my relationship with my mom, she was just a, human being all along, you
Mm.
know? And it's like, because I can relate to that now, yeah, I don't know how she could, love someone who's like me,
Mm.
but she did. And for me, that was a starting point, and the rest of the song kind of came easy after that. And
Mm.
that's, yeah, that was like my grounding point to center the rest of the lyrics.
Julia, for this time around, I think you refused to let me put words in your mouth, so you came up with the lyrics yourself. How was it? How was that
I don't remember it
experience?
that way, but yeah, it was. Um, I mean, it was just the two of you, so I didn't feel uncomfortable. It just made me think like I was saying, I'm not a mom yet, so I don't know. Hearing Dave's lyrics, I was like, well, how can I respond to this as a female vocalist? And so I think we agreed at some point that it would be like the mom's response, which like Dave was saying, you don't want it to be cliche and I don't know, based on nothing. So I started thinking about my own mom, and my mom was a performer too for a while. She's an opera singer. Both my parents were, and I know that she had to, give up a career, like a very successful career, to be a mom. And so, I mean, we were talking about how the theme is like a mom suffering too. So, um, I was kind of trying to put a reassuring tone into it. Like the first few lines are, I had my dreams, laid my eyes on you, and they all came true for me. It's just like a shift of mentality. Like, this is what I thought I wanted, and now I have you, and this is what I want. And so, whatever struggle I go through, it's going to be worth it now. And there are some other lines in there, like if I don't, who will? I feel like, I mean, both parents can take on a lot of responsibility for their child, but from this perspective in particular, I felt like trying to embody the message: if I, as your mom, don't do this for you and like stick with you even though you hurt me, and I have to do all this, then who else is going to do it? So
Mm.
that was kind of like the general idea that I was going for lyrically. Yeah, it was fun. It was challenging, but I'm glad that you put that challenge out there.
Mm.
It is definitely a good experience. So.
Mm. Yeah, since we're talking about this track, you know, titled "For Mom" or "For M," um, do you two recall any particular experience where you, in your own lives, saw the way your mom was raising you or raising the family, and you were like, you know what, my mom's really putting her all out there. Any memories from your past that come to mind?
Damn, man, what time is it, man? We're going deep, deep. This is like a 3 a.m. John. Um, I definitely have one.
Yeah, sure. If
So
you don't
when I
mind.
was um, yeah, my parents ain't on this joint, so I can speak. But when we were younger, we weren't that well off, and I was when I was like in my middle school days, I was a pretty chubby kid. When I that's that's small. I wasn't a chubby kid, you know what I'm saying? I was a big dude, and you know, most people eat one bowl of rice. You know what I'm saying? I will be that dude who eats like 3 bowls of rice. And I just remember like, you know, for some reason, you know, um, it was like one dinner, and like I was just a kid, like I didn't care what was going on.
Mm.
And I remember I had like 2 or 3 bowls of rice, and I was still hungry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wasn't hungry, but I just wanted to eat more. And I remember I asked my mom if she was going to finish her food. Now, granted, like she didn't even start her food because she
Mm.
like prepared our food. You know what I mean? And I remember she looked at me and she said like, oh, like I'm actually like not hungry, like, why don't you eat this? And I remember saying like, oh, like, did you eat before or something? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I ate all her food. you know, as a kid, like, you don't know that stuff, but I just remember my mom getting up, and I'll never forget. I remember I heard her stomach growling. You know what I'm saying? And even as a kid, like I still remember that. Like, and it's like we never had that conversation. Like one day I want to have that conversation. Like, do you remember that? Because it's like she probably doesn't. Maybe she does, but um, yeah, I'll never forget that. Like hearing her stomach, and I'm going like, she says she ate. I was like, whatever. But yeah, those are like one of the moments where I was like, you know, yeah, it was like, as a typical Asian kid, like, you know, my parents was always at work, so it was always like, I always felt like I wish I had better parents who would come up to my like, my sports stuff or like pick me up from school or be able to get me a car. But when I think about those moments, like my mom really gave it her all, you know what I'm saying? Like to the best she could. And like I think that dinner table talk like says enough of like of the whole situation.
Mm. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, yeah.
Julia, anything that comes to your mind from?
I just think, my mom's health isn't amazing.
Hmm.
Thankfully, she's healthier, a little bit healthier now, but she gets tired out really easily. So, but she would still, she teaches private voice lessons still, but all through my school years, she was teaching from 3 to 9, like Monday to Saturday sometimes. So it's kind of like that's what I mostly think of, like really long hours, investing a lot of time. And I know that she also felt a lot of guilt, like, oh, I want to like eat dinner together, or we missed out on this family time. But I never felt that way. But I know that that was heavy on her.
Hmm.
But it's what she was doing to help provide for our family too. And so
Hmm.
yeah, that's mostly what I think about when I think of my mom, stepping up for us in her own way. So
Wow. Yeah, my mom was one of 7 children,
Hey,
and my grandma, she was one of the individuals who had to endure um, the occupation in Korea,
mm,
and during that time, not only were they trying to survive by having 7 mouths to feed, but they were also trying to survive under the rule of another country coming in to your homeland. And within the midst of that, my mom decided to leave that large family behind to come to be the first to come to America because she wanted to try to raise a family away from what she thought at that time would be a long-lasting occupation in Korea. So just hearing different ways and the way the things you guys both shared, sort of resonates with me because I think um, if you look at all well-intentioned and loving moms, there's a lot of overlap in terms of the character of a mom, and I'm glad we're able to collaborate on this song because I think a lot of the lyrics on this and sort of the energy. Sometimes the song even sounds angry. Um, a lot of it I think speaks to many. Will hopefully speak to many individuals because the suffering of a mom is shared among many mothers. So, um, shall we listen?
mm.
Yeah.
yeah, let's
right.
do it.
All right. 4M. featuring Julia and DBak.
Oh my, I love you. Oh my, I want you to know that I can never understand what you went through. I know that you're a human being just like me, yet you love so much just like me. How could it be that you would give yourself for someone else? We finally got to heaven cause you went through hell. How did you manage? It must have felt like madness to give everything to those who would take it for granted. Yeah, just for me. Why'd you give up on the luxuries? You would become poor, you would give all that's yours. Your scars show your love for me. Mama, I see you, what you did for me. I watch you give up on all your dreams, so one day I could reach mine. Your life was denied. Your scars show your love for me. Your love for me.
I had my dreams, laid my eyes on you, and they all came true for me. You take my heart, filled with joy and tears, morning to night, keep up this fight. If I don't, who will? I had my dreams, laid my eyes on you, and they all came true for me. You take my heart, filled with joy and tears, morning to night, keep up this fight. If I don't, who will? Love like this can't be explained. Someday you'll know, see your own grow. Nothing can change us.
I know your back is not broken, cause you carry me. I see the blood, sweat, and tears for our family. Mama, you don't have to fear, though the future is not clear. You can bet your whole life I will never leave. I know this life ain't just glitter and gold, it will swallow you whole, so rest your weary soul, mama. I know this life ain't just glitter and gold, it will swallow you whole, so rest your weary soul, mama.
Nothing can change us.
Wow.
This hits so hard. I love it so much. I think it's one of my favorite tracks from your album.
Wow.
This hits so hard.
Yeah, I remember there was one time where during the drop, it sounds so angry.
Yeah.
Like I was like, there were times when my mom was really angry at me. But like when I'm talking about, when we're writing a song about the trials that a mom has gone through, do I want like the drum, especially the drums? Like the drums sound like they hit really hard, and I remember at a certain point I made the decision. There is something about the love of a mom that has fury behind it. And I wanted, at that point, I was like, let's go all out and make these drums sound like war drums, you know? And yeah, even now, you know, this is like my 40th, 50th time listening to this because I've worked with it so much. It really moves me.
Yeah.
It really does. And yeah, I can't thank the two of you enough for really putting your own selves out there, contributing to this in such a vulnerable way.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember this might have been one of the first times where I've seen Julia next to me writing lyrics. I remember that was crazy cool. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, Julia's mad humble, so it's like, you know, I've always saw her like sing parts that people asked her to sing, but that was cool to see her like bring out the songwriter that she already is and just like write the melodies and the lyrics, and that like I think that really brought like this different aspect to it. And the other thing I think about when I just like re-listen to the song is like I never imagined it this way, but when I hear it now, it's like I think it's so true. Like if it's like visually, then it's like, you know, there's a son and a mom, and usually like whenever you look at a relationship between a son and like you know, and a mom, or you know, a child and their parent, you know, there's like so much emotion, right? Because there's nothing's ever so black and white. It's not just like, you know, the kid loves the parent, the parent loves them. There's years of ups and downs of like love, hate, anger, sweetness, bitterness. And there's something about like your part ended, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that you can't have a bar. I mean, you can, maybe Drake can have a bar that really explains that. But most of the time I feel like that's really tough to put in the language of words, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's especially appropriate to use like a genre like EDM to convey that kind of emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like something that is so like scattered, but it's still cohesive. It's like it hits hard, but it's soft. I don't know. So it felt like when I was listening to it, and you brought in all the drops after like the major vocals. So it felt like, it really did feel like, you know, every time you did the drop after a vocalist, it felt like you were trying to convey what these guys were trying to say, but they couldn't use words with, you know what I mean? So I felt like it really it did what the song was supposed to do. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Now, you know, now that I am trying to recall that evening, I remember Dave really wanted to do justice to the topic, and I do remember you leaving this room frequently and just finding you pacing back and forth by yourself in the other room as you're like repeating words to yourself. But I think your effort and your desire to really do the theme of the song justice came through, both of you. So I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you know, that also reminds me, like, you know how like I never write in front of people ever. This was the first time I wrote 2 verses, man, because
That's
what
right.
I remember.
That's right. You asked if this is enough. I said no. Give me a second verse.
Yeah, but it was crazy because what happened was I remember I wrote that first verse and I was okay with it, and then Julia wrote a verse, and it was kind of like, yeah, that was awesome. That was the first time I wrote and someone else wrote in the same room. And it's like when someone writes and records, like I feel like as an artist, there's no other more vulnerable spot than that, to be in front of like the mic. And Yeah, it was the first time I saw someone else do that process. And when Julia got up to the mic and laid it down, I don't know, it kind of made me go like, yo, it's my turn now. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I don't know. It was awesome because it made me go like, yeah, like all the stuff what I don't want to write about, like I'll try it in verse 2. And then yeah, that's another memory I thought of.
This is awesome. Well, 2 more weeks, guys. And yeah, 2 more weeks, and hopefully, what you see of me will be smiles, and you won't see me unraveling as a ball of anxiety as these 2 weeks count down. But I'm excited, and I can't thank you two enough, and to all the people who contributed to this project, I can't thank all of you enough. It's really been awesome. I've learned a lot through the process, not only about music and production, but also about each one of the individuals who've contributed. I think more importantly, learning about each of you guys has been really dear to me. So, but in reality, dark circles in the beard. What does that mean?
I don't know.
That John Kim?
No, that's the if there ever was a female mirror, I don't know what that means, but
Hi, Grace.
what does that mean? Dark circles in the beard.
You know what it means, brother.
Is that me? Dark circles around my eyes because I'm losing sleep. Maybe that's what it means. Well, I'll ask her afterwards.
Oh, on the day of your release date.
Oh, I see. Any last words, guys? Okay.
No, it was great working with both of you.
Same.
Yeah.
And
Likewise.
trust me, this won't be the end.
Yeah, I don't think it can be.
Yeah. All right, Dave, Julia, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and then enjoy the ensuing weekend.
Hey, guys.
All right. Bye.